they've got to at least start by winning a game. Now, Lyric, BLG on blue side here, they've banned away the Gragas, the Scion this time, even the Lissandra from JDG, as the Zeri's actually taken off the board for JDG, who were on blue side in game 1.
Yeah, the Lissandra ban of first rotation is so strange. It would make you signal of like higher priority on something like a LeBlanc, which honestly I feel like LeBlanc has been an incredibly strong champion that is very much blind pickable. And again, Lissandra really being one of the only things that comes to mind when it comes to worries. I like the JDG this time around though. Take away the Zeri was something we thought that they'd take away in game 1 because Elk has leaned on it so heavily. Also taking away the Rakan from On. By far his best pick. They've also loved to go towards the Xayah Rakan. So I like the bans coming through, but it leaves the jungle pool wide open. So Vi, something that's typically taken in first rotation, still there. Things like the Aphelios going to be very high priority because I believe both teams are actually undefeated on it. Both 80 carries 6-0.
But never mind that, because they're just like, forget it. Ben needs to go back on the cannon. But I do notice something. If you're banning Lissandra, that means that a champion starting with A and ending with E. I don't know why that took so long. I'm sorry, guys. Learning to spell today. Just left open for 9. They're just willing to give away the Annie again.
Yeah, having no qualms, again, is a flex pick. I feel like if they lock in the Lucian, it kind of lowers the amount that we expect it to go down towards that support role. But now for BLG, Aphelios is something else sitting on 6-0. Both 80 carries have looked incredible on it this split. And then it would be very easy to round out with something for On, if they did just want to go towards like a Lulu themselves and kind of enable Elk to be that hyper carry, but it would mean that Shun would very much have to get his hands on something with engage so the team would actually be able to start up the fights that they want.
Okay, 2v2 getting set out for BLG in the meantime. Elk and On going to be the Aphelios and Lulu. Pretty standard. Lyric, what I've learned here today are 2 things. That BLG feel like they have an option going into this, and that spelling Annie without the A is very hard. I just sat there and thought, knee. I'm like, how am I going to spell the rest of this word? So instead, I look like an utter idiot as, hey, at least this time, Ruler and Missing going to show us that the Lucian Nami as well can be a threat from their angle. So we're kind of swapping around the tactics from JDG and BLG's bottom lanes.
Which is really interesting because even though BLG, we said like, hey, it's fallen off a little bit, but Elk and On still were a bot lane that played it. Ruler's only pulled that the Lucian wants to split. They have much more heavily leaned on the Zeri, the Aphelios. Hell, they're one of the bot lanes gravitating towards the Caitlyn, Varus, very much in his wheelhouse. But now with this locked in, we have to see where they want to go for their next phase. I mean, junglers still left open, and it feels like there's so many available. That's why we don't see either team really looking to pinch out the jungle role. Again, I mean, Lee Sin, Wukong, Vi, Sejuani, just so many things available for either side to go with that unless they both use both bans on it, that it'd be really hard to take something away.
And historically, they've had even wilder picks. We're talking about Shaco from Kanavi that's come out, one of our only few Shakos in the league. Shun has picked Kindred, Nidalee. Like, Kanavi can play those champions too. It's just crazy going down the pack. So it feels like, for now, the smiles on Shun's face. We're just getting rid of the basic ones. Vi taken away. Does BLG go, okay, no monkey for you? Let's make it a little bit harder to get some of your engage, some of your setup with this great mid laner once again.
Yeah, Wukong, Lee Sin. Lee Sin being the other thing that comes to mind, especially if JDG did just want to lean heavily into trying to play out aggressive early game setups and then having things like the Dragon's Rage to potentially kick the Kennen away from any skirmish that does come on through. So now ball's in JDG's court. They can either look to take away whatever jungle they think is highest priority, if they do think it's something like that, Lee Sin, or, enemies already showing the Kennen, so it would also be very easy to just look to answer the top lane pick now.
Well, we're going to do this again, though, aren't we? I guess Kanavi wants to play it around. Not going to be the Viego, but Lee Sin taken away from Shun. As you said, the priority pick left, and jungle picked up with topside as the counter for JDG. Now, let's see what BLG do here, Lyric, because running into Lee Sin, does Shun want to go something a little bit more risque?
With him, you always have to wonder if something like the Kindred is going to come out right, because it is Shun. I think if they wanted to go more standard, they would bring out the Viego, but they do it. The Kindred comes out 3-0 on it this split. It's been banned every game against BLG so far in playoffs, and now Shun's going to have his chance to show us why.
Finally, again, this guy is a machine on Kindred, and it's constantly banned against him. Lyric, fun fact, in the regular season, 81% of games, and ladies and gentlemen, they play 16 series, that Kindred's banned away. 81% of the time is, hey, it's not the only big pick coming through. We got a feral monster for 369 versus Bin's Kennen. Top lane just got hell interesting as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be great to see Cho'Gath coming out from 369. I believe it's his first Cho'Gath of the split. Of course, we've had it come out a couple times, usually up into the Scion, but going to get to see what it can do here. Of course, having the sustain to be able to get through lane is going to be quite nice, and just giving them the front line that they needed. So now, I love it. Two very different compositions, right? BLG,
yep.
It's about the protection that you bring, having something like the Kindred, but having the backline access come out in a Galio, but a ton of peel tools. They're going to open up for Elk to be the big carry, or Bin if he can find the flanks, to where JDG feels way more pick-oriented, right? The single target burst coming out, the single target CC, or I guess Annie, you could get multi-stun coming out with something like the Tibbers or the Cone, but still, very much going to be about separating members of BLG and just picking them apart one by one.
And Lyric, we know that this is just shifting gears then, isn't it? Because again, things have changed up. JDG were the team fighting team, the front line set out, or at least the massive wombos that came through. This time BLG are going to have a stab at it, and Lyric, I love circles. That's what BLG are telling us. Kindred has a circle. Kennen has a circle. Galio has a circle. Aphelios spins in a circle, and Lulu decides to spin alongside him. BLG, the team of circles here in our top 4, in our road to semifinals, in our road to MSI in the LPL, begins now. And it's going to start with a bot lane all-in to see if BLG can win a game back after JDG snatched it from their hands in game 1.
I also love how the roles reverse, even in terms of level 1, right? It was JDG going for this exact play in game 1. 5 members down towards bot lane. It didn't work out for them. It looks like it's going to be the same story for BLG in game 2.
You gotta love geometry. Have you ever seen those videos, Lyric, of like the professor drawing the perfect circle? You know, if you stand horizontal to a whiteboard, or at least, I guess, parallel to it, you put your hand out at the bottom, and in a big circle shape, it's a test to see if you can draw a perfect circle. Now, BLG are going to show us exactly how to do that. There's missing runs in. The whole crew are here, though, with Night Stun, of course, up. Depends on what he started as BLG 3v3. This is not stopping. Okay. JDG are just playing with the idea, but they are eventually going to back away.
So nothing going to pan out from this level 1. And again, looking at the side of BLG, I want to keep our eyes on how Shun does, how many marks he's able to get, and if they're really able to get this Kindred going. Wanting a few levels under his belt. You don't really have a ton of great setup in terms of ganks, especially coming from bot side. Yagao will be able to do a lot. You know, the knock up into the taunt, Finn bringing some CC, so those are some potential avenues for you to look. So for JDG, it really does feel like it's dealer's choice. Kanavi can go anywhere.
He really can. And again, Kanavi on this Lee Sin historically has been one of his best champs as well. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've watched the LPL for a couple of years, you know that Kanavi's Lee Sin is goated. But again, Shun's
undefeated
Kindred,
the split,
you know, is the same as well. And you're right, undefeated too. So one of these junglers is taking a loss from this split. 3-0 versus 6-0 in the jungle. And Lyric, I brought up some stats here. I looked at Kindred on Shun. 18, or rather the other way around, 18-8. Historically, 70% win rate after 26 games in his career. Shun is a machine as now looking for Knight. I don't know if he's marked, but even at level 3, he steps forward. Shun wants to come in. Shield of Duran gets the stun up. The Justice Punch already used to get the gap closed. 1, 2, 3, and not going to find the mark, or rather, the kill down. Shun comes through, but still gets a summoner from Knight.
We hit on it just a few minutes ago, right? Mid, really going to be the best place for Shun to look for ganks. Really the only, I'd say, consistent setup you have if you want to be able to look for kills. Able to get the summoner, so now going to be a potential repeat play, but look at the minimap. Actually, Kanavi's the one waiting in the wings to try and get something off the Yao.
Yeah, it's Justice Punch, Sonic Wave still going to connect. Taken, Shield of Duran under turret means Kanavi takes a turret shot, but Yagal's forced out. Teleports errors. Oh my god. You know, the thing is, 369 picked this into the Kennen, Lyric, but Bin on Kennen is a monster of its own world.
Just great coming out from Ben, utilizing the range advantage that he has. And, you know, I'm not super familiar with this matchup, but still, I think one of the selling points of Cho'Gath into Kennen is just the fact that you are able to survive. You do have the sustain coming out from your passive. You have abilities to try to contend with his poke, with things like your Q, even going the Comet to be able to go that route. So level 6, I think, is where it can become a little bit dicier depending on how it's played out, right? Having that ulti available, but Shun gonna keep punishing Kanavi here in the spot
He's
side.
down, dance of arrows, mounting Dread is there, he flashes over. Kanavi ticking down with red buff, but Yagao coming in for the flank, wins the war with the flash justice punch, shield of Duran, and Shun gets first blood, and it was a mark, Lyric. Kanavi's marked to death.
BLG setting up for Shun to have an impact on this game and show why every team has banned out this Kindred in playoffs so far. And again, just the most banned champion against BLG all split long. He's going to make his way up towards top scuttle to get another mark online and really start accelerating on this Kindred.
Again, you flip 50-50, but it looks like he's like, hang on, that's what they'd expect me to do. Shun now going to go for 369, but backs off and again goes back towards that mark. 2 marks in under 5 minutes, Lyric. Any Kindred would agree that is just the perfect start to this game. And again, Shun with his track record on this champion, things already looking good. And a bit more attack speed here in the early jungle clear. So 1k gold lead, 5 minutes in. And Kanavi on the back foot, Lyric, you were talking about how he can play this game, but we are getting close to that level 6 point already, and things do get a little bit more difficult when Yagao has his ulti too.
Going to be able to follow up on any targets or any fights that come out, especially when JDG are such a individualistic or isolated teams in terms of how they don't really link up much from lane to lane. It could always just set up or someone's over-aggressing out of nowhere. It's not a 1v1, it's a 1v2. Or it's not like it would be a 2v2 here, a 3v2 because Yagao can join up. So I think this pick can do a lot to counteract the type of aggression that JDG usually like to bring out.
And it'll be interesting to see what Kanavi does about it, right? We talked in game 1 extensively about Knight and Kanavi needing to link up. Should we be looking at that angle again? Should we be looking at all hails bot? Like, how did JDG kind of facilitate this early game and push themselves into a position of power?
Like I said earlier, I think Kanavi actually has a plethora of options. Really, you have setup and you have damage in every lane. Is Ruler now gonna be forced to use that cleanse? But most of your eggs want to be in the spot lane basket. You want to be getting Ruler ahead. Is really the only one who's going to be able to put out consistent damage as the game goes on. It's going to be really hard now because look, Yagao, with constant pressure, can just look to move over. And I don't know how you're ever going to get a chance to really overload the spot lane unless BLG show on top side.
Well, again, for now, it looks like for Yagao, he's zoning off Knight. You can see the ward placed in, just killed away. Shun is going to be taking this dragon, though. This is not a mark. But Shun still getting the first dragon of the game. And again, bot going well for this team as BLG 10 CS lead, or at least close to. I'm not sure. The wave's being pushed up bot, but there might be even more. Because again, look at where Shun's going. Threatening, Ruler and missing, so they can't push out the lane. I mean, Lyric, it's early game of Shun again. That was right in game 1 on the Sejuani pick. That, again, it seems like he's everywhere on the map to start this game off.
And it just goes to show we were hitting on the difference between the junglers in the last game. That it felt like Shun has been working more with his laners. Is Knight now going to be pinched?
Oh, Ben is going to get the stun up. Flashes over the wall. The slicing Maelstrom gets a double stun on the Knight, wins war. 2 connect for the damage. And Ben's roam down makes an angry bear out of Knight.
Great job. Has Prio on the top side. Knows he can move down. Now we're going to see if we get anything more than just slight trades in bot, but doesn't look like it. So winning out in bot lane in terms of the CS, already winning out in top side. We've got some kills on both Bin and Shun. And it feels like we're set up really nicely for Herald to spawn in 20 seconds.
Yep. Another kill means a 1k gold lead, means also Noon Quiver picked up by Shun. With that kill going down as well, Bin was able to get himself closer to what looks like a proto belt being picked up here. So BLG Lyric, as you said, the Herald is coming up soon. Shun's on the right side of the map.
You know, I'm wondering if the same is going to happen in this playoffs that happened last year. Oh, yeah. Because, oh wait, we're going to get a replay of his roam all the way down? Woo. Okay, we are. We are going to actually just watch him make his way all the way down. So we're going to see here how the setup comes on through. Knight is trying to get the wave pushed in, but both sides being pushed off, gets the stun, able to follow through. A little tag of the Q from Yagao to make sure he gets an assist as well. But I want to go back, assuming, are JDG going to contest? They're going to contest, Sterix. Your time to pop off.
We've got Feast here for 369. It only depends if it turns into a fight. Jun is backing away. I is exposed as well, and there's no hard reset here. So it looks like for 369, oh, give it to him. Oh, did he eat it? He did. Oh, yummy. As Ruler, meanwhile, oh, he's double tagged. Crescendum doesn't kill him though, and Elkin on feeling good in this 2v2 lane while JDG put their resources topside.
But still, BLG now, knowing those resources were topside, looking to angle around bot. Doesn't look like anything will come from it, as Ruler and Missing do get those resets off. So now, for BLG, we still know what we're looking for, right? It's going to be around Shun, it's going to be around Yagao. For JDG, though, the question is where they're going to be looking to drop this Herald. They haven't taken plates anywhere yet on the map, so usually you can kind of narrow it down like that if you just outright break open the turret and maybe generate map pressure that way. But again, I would want to see the gold given over to Ruler and make sure he's able to have an impact on this game.
Yeah, as you said, bot needs to come through. I like to use words consistent damage because, again, you look at Annie, Lee Sin, I mean, Cho'Gath, like, consistent damage on this team is only on one carry. So for Ruler, you know, big shoes again here in this game, and he's not on the Zeri. He's on something that eventually, Lyric, we look at Aphelios versus Illusion. We know there's going to be outscaling. We know in that 2v2, one's going to be more relevant than another as this game goes on, especially with the team fighting you laid out by BLG. The fact that this early game is going this smoothly is a good sign, as Givers is exposed in the mid lane, but there are pings going down towards bot side. And again, this early game continues to be BLG focused down on this lane that JDG needs. Oh, I think that was a flash.
Oh, force of the flash because the knock-up did not connect. That could have been the difference maker there for 369, but without it, Nosi has to play it safe. But I want to see what's going on down in the bot lane. We still have a lot of posturing. Both junglers are sticking around.
Elk without the ulti though. Kanavi sitting with the Herald, as you said, so he's waiting. Shun, if he backs here, an opportunity, but he holds it. Okay, Kanavi gets the kick onto On. He flashes, gets the wild growth. He's alive, caught away. Dodge as well. What a great polymorph for Shun. Goes in with the Lamb's respite. Kanavi's going to sit in it for now, but that's a 3-man as Kanavi comes out, about to die. Oh, Shun's ulti was prime as JDG draw in Knight for the TP, but Yagal's moved in as well.
I mean, getting so much. They got a kill. They got summoners out of it. Heal down from Missing. Flash out from Kanavi. TP down from Knight to where Yagao not having to utilize that one. Not having to use his ulti. Just walk straight down from River. And BLG are doing such a good job of containing JDG and not allowing them to make the plays they want. I mean, hell, if we can read it, they're going to look for that play on bot lane. BLG sure as hell can read it too.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, again, jungle lead here this time. Almost 20 CSs. I'll pause on that because Lyric, Navi went in for the kick. He didn't have it for Shun later on.
I mean, luckily for On, able to flash away. Wild Growth comes out, so a lot burned to try to take down the Lulu. And then Shun going forward, has a great ult for himself. And then we're going to see here, them kiting back, able to take down Kanavi is Knight.
Oh my god.
He's gone.
And it was another mark. Lyric, Shun is on 5 marks at 12 minutes in the game. Dude, if Forest Within was watching this, he'd be happy man right now because this Kindred is quickly taking over the game now with his second kill, opening up mid for Yagao. Dragons up, Lyric. BLG, I don't know what they've been doing at the start of playoffs, but it's just been getting better and better.
Great to see them coming in. Let's remember that this team did have a coaching change coming into playoffs, right? They were the team that ended up picking up Tabe.
Oh, yeah.
And we know what Tabe was able to do with RNG, for all those years.
Yeah,
beat RNG. Took him down. Oh, no.
Kick, blast cone, double shield his rank. Gravitum's there as well. The Wind will do so much damage. Dragon's taken in the meantime, but Yagao trying to get follow further up onto Missing. JDG will survive, but they got blast coned on. And now with double Dragon, BLG just looking for a little bit more in the enemy jungle.
Yeah, we see Rift Herald going down in bots. Gonna pull him there. Nice.
Oh, there it is, though. An opportunity here is JDG. Draw in Yagao. There's an ulti coming through. Only hits the scuttle in the end. As Elk gets the kill. I can't believe On didn't die.
I am surprised. Just so much burst coming through, but not enough to take him down. And honestly, looking at this game, we can be like, hey, very similar situation to game 1. Huge lead coming out from BLG. But I think it'd be much harder to lose out. We're going to get a replay of what happened in mid, but again, looking at how this game's going to play out holistically, I feel like it's much harder for JDG to do what they did last game and find their way back in. Because sure, you're going to go for these plays that Knight has on Annie like so, but you have tools like the Wild Growth is, ooh, the kick coming out from Kanavi, making it so that Shun is able to get away, and On, like you said, lucky not to go down. But again, Wild Growth, the Kindred ult able to come out. There's so many things that if Knight finds his great stuns like he did in game 1, you're going to be able to survive past them, have more damage coming through on the opposite side of the fight, because you not only have an Aphelios, but also have a Kindred scaling up. And it really feels like JDG are going to need some massive oversteps from BLG, especially now that Elk has picked up his Gale Force.
Oh yeah, Gale Force, Kraken there for Shun in the jungle. He's onward to the Black Cleaver, it seems here. And
Rocket
now
Elk.
topside 369. Again, he's going to get bullied out. Shun just destroys him, man. That mounting dread is huge with Kraken.
There's also a question of how 369 ever intended of getting in range of Elk, like of a composition that's
again
playing double marksman, you know?
Yeah.
It's going to be rough.
Lyric, I like that you brought up the point of Knight. It feels like BLG have run into the second game with an answer, right? Not only the Galio in lane, but as you said, a lot of tools to stop Knight in his place from the successful game when he had. Finn's going to DC. Oh. Okay, so we do see that one live. There's a bit of a pause. So we're now going to sit back and wonder what happened. Your gal he's sipping, man. He's like, all right, no, we'll wait and see. But hey, BLG with a 4K gold lead. This game 2 is looking promising. I will say again.
Looking good. BLG wanting to keep their hopes alive of, again, their first ever international appearance. If they can win this, if they can win out their next match, make it into that final. Or hell, again, even just seeing incremental growth, seeing them make a third place finish even, you know, that would still be quite monumental. Taking down JDG would be huge. And for JDG, we're talking about the game and how they come back. And again, like, what tools do you have? You go in with the tippers, Kindred ult comes out, Lamster Spite's there, Wild Growth comes through, like Galio can follow up, Cho'Gath. You're just going to run down a Kindred who's going to be able to kite you, and a Aphelios who's going to outrange you. You just don't really have the same tools there. It's going to require, like, heroics from Kanavi, getting behind someone, kicking the Aphelios into your team. He gets taken down, maybe kiting out from a Kindred ultimate, re-engaging. Like, even explaining it feels silly.
Again, there's so many things that have to happen for JDG to get a solid fight off. And with such a big lead, with Shun on his champion, that's not only 3-0, but that's 70% win rate over 26 games of his career. There is a reason that during the regular season, 80% of games, that's not series but individual games, teams ban this against BLG. Shun, once he gets rolling with it, can really take over. And Lyric, it's a good sign for BLG because this organization, this team, the bunch of scraps put together, Elk on coming through, and we have Yagal kicked out of JDG for Knight. We have Shun, who was IG's carry, but you know, joining BLG alongside Bin, who was the mainstay. It's just all fitting together. They were off-season champions too with the Mafia Cup. It's amazing how it's come to this point, and whether this is a game win or not, the fact that it's looking pretty good, the fact that even game 1, they held a pretty manageable gold lead. It's showing how BLG deserves to be here on the top 4. Now, Lyric, we are back after the pause. Looks like Bin's issues were resolved, but that 4K gold lead still here at the 15-minute mark as turret plating falls down. And as BLG start playing these side lanes with Yagao and Bin.
Yeah, they're going to pick up Herald now. Should be another way to just accelerate and get their gold lead even further up, which now sitting at 5K, they're where they were last time at an even earlier break point. So they get the second Herald, they could eventually break down that bot tier 1, or, you know, if they get a chance to make a good push in mid, maybe potentially use that to draw away from a dragon, get themselves on soul point. Like, BLG are just flooded with options right now. You don't expect to see them too heavily, I feel like, commit to an outright 1-3-1. Galio definitely going to be wanting to link up with the team and utilize his ult, but for now going to be stuck catching waves against the Annie. Maybe Shun could look to make his way down, unless 369 over-aggresses in that top side.
Depends. 369's been caught out before in this series, not having the greatest of laning phases. Let's be real, BLG have bullied him quite a bit. But Bin also, through that early lane, we saw 369 forced out. We saw where that gold lead and that CS lead came from. Bin is once again up almost 2,000 gold over 369. And Lyric, you already mentioned how BLG want to operate. This team fighting cannon is going to be huge with some of these ultimates coming through with almost 2 items this early on.
It's also just going to be like the cannon, you know, you're now going to have more agency to get into fights, find flanks, because you're going to have vision control. But the rest of your team, it's like, how are JDG going to walk in? Look at the map right now, just littered with BLG wards throughout River. They're going to be able to retake the vision towards spawn side of the top that JDG have been able to get. Is, you know, I told you, I'll tell the world, my goal today was not to call JDG top esports. We've already failed. not even into game 3 yet. We've already failed.
I really can. We'll just call Civil Light. Dude, you have Knight and 369.
It's Knight and 369. It's Knight 369. What do you expect?
I've done it before. I did this split a couple of times. I mean, again, when Knight and 369 joined back up, you just thought, hang on a minute. This seems a little bit familiar. And speak of the devil, okay, here comes the chunky man from the top side. He's going to walk his way in as BLG. Shun's just engaged on stunned up. He can't land for a spike. JDG Lyric, the window was so small, but they found it through Knight again.
But you see the types of windows, the types of plays they have to look for to find ways into this game. Playing in Fog of War, waiting for someone from BLG to walk into them, and now going to hopefully take a dragon off of this. BLG, though, still want to contest. They're bringing in the Ken. Actually, it's the Galio coming in.
It is. Kennen does have Flash and the engage. Yagao wants to set him up. Bin's thinking about it, but Dragon's already down. Objective bounty goes through as well. And JDG, it's just like game 1, Lyric. If there's a will, there's a way.
JDG just, it's these small cheeky plays allowing them to get back in. Looks like BLG off this should be able to get a bottling turret. JDG on the opposing side don't feel comfortable in overstaying to push mid, knowing that Shun is back up. Just back off, try and get closer towards your next items, and come back out on the map. So, again, JDG might get dragged at BLG, at least trading with gold by taking this turret.
Okay, 369. How much jeopardy is he in? Ult does come through as well. Ambitious out of Elk, but maybe just forcing 369 back as the rest of the team are moving up here. Shun now joins in as well. Lyric, he's got that Herald. Inner turrets on the menu while Bin's actually taking one of his own.
Gonna keep going with the siege. Herald gonna be dropped down, and with Knight up towards the top side, there's no way for JDG to even answer, but bringing the flank, wanting to find Bin.
Knight doesn't have flash available, used it before, but Ygal's ulti going to come through. Hero's entrance, Bin pops the slicing maelstrom, and Knight's just hit the counter punch. An ambulance for who, you are? Shun now joins in a turret through mid. Was already getting pressured, but now BLG looking for more on the menu.
This is why we highlighted that the same types of plays won't be able to work. There's just too many defensive tools on the side of BLG to make sure that those picks can't be given in the same way. JDG's one reprieve, their one kill, was BLG blindly walking into them. So BLG, Elk.
Elk, okay, almost did land for a spike. What? Elk on 20 HP. Shun has the fingers of a masseuse.
Comes out with the save. Elk manages to get out alive, and that's going to be it. BLG going to be able to disengage, going to be able to back off. JDG going to try and find small wins off of this. We can see Kanabi taking away the blue buff right now. And with Baron coming up, it's going to be a battle for vision towards this top half of the map. Actually, I'm wrong. It's going to be a battle for the Baron outright, knowing that Elk went for the reset.
On spawn, on spawn, on spawn. Elk needs to come through fast. JDG are pulling off, though. It looks like not too confident with this one. Being 6,000 gold
I just wanted to say, like, are you really going to all get into that pit up against a Kennen, a Kindred, just so many ways of shutting you out, locking you up, and getting damage? As we're going to see here, Elk walking in, not expecting the damage to come through from Ruler, but those fast fingers from Shun, 20 HP on the Aphelios, and Elk manages to survive.
60 minutes, $80. It's worth it. They're precise. Your back has never been cracked like that before. Shun, now with a Black Cleaver, by the way, it feels like his prices should go up. And especially when you're a 2-item Kindred Lyric, this is just his game to continue taking over. You said it so well. It's a double marksman comp as well. And Shun now with 6 marks in total. His range is going to be, out of Elks, maybe even more at this point in the game as BLG look to hover around and utilize the strength and damage they currently have.
BLG just feel confident, just walking up as a group in mid lane. Even look at the minimap. You have been constantly hovering just in case he can find an angle to come off on a flank and lock people down. And they're going to use this push into top side like we can see now and just try and get more control over vision. Make sure that JDG don't have any information to work with. Pull them across the map by pushing inside and just doing a great job of playing things by the book.
And that's what we've known them through from playoffs. their grouping, their team fighting, how they sync up. I think your gal's been really good at that so far in playoffs as well. And, you know, we've been talking about Ben being the best top laner in playoffs, or at least one of. I think I would say best top laner, especially through his laning phases so far.
369 was first All-Pro, and we see what's happening in this series. Sure, he is opting into, like, tank matchups against carries, but still, Ben having a field day.
Okay, wrong button. Yeah, the cat sideways. I mean, wrong button from Shun. He knows. He's laughing. That was not the right one.
Bloodthirster now picked up by Alec. When we are saying that JDG are so indexed into just outright bursting an opponent out, having that shield online is going to do so much more to just make it so JDG have once again another target that's going to be hard to whittle down.
Yeah, I'm trying to set it up. As you said, whittling down a target before, it was based on Shun, based on when he didn't have his ulti. Now that is a reality once again, as Shun has a little bit to wait for that cooldown. But how did JDG just walk in? Bin now spotted on the ward on the side as well, Lyric. And that Dragon, 5 seconds till it's up. JDG aren't even all here. They're going to have to teleport in if they want a piece of this. And, well, they do. But Knight, it's on a control ward. So BLG have a bit of an idea here. They're going to chase him down. They know. They see when you teleport on control wards. They go for the rest of the fighters. Knight now spotted out on the Shun. Remember, he has no ulti. Tidal Wave knocks him up. It might burn him. A double kill coming through. Ruler's now in the game as Lyric. That fake use of the ult from Shun.
The misclick
cost them everything.
It punished them. That is absolutely wild. The misclick from Shun being the thing that costs BLG. And if they end up losing this game, because they are going to lose the Baron right now, my God, my heart would be bleeding for BLG. They, at very least, will get themselves on Soul Point.
But it's the same again. They moved to Soul Point in game 1. JDG found a fight based around that 4th dragon. And even though BLG moved to Soul Point, it kept happening thanks to Knight. So, are we doing deja vu? We hitting the gas here? What is going on?
Knowing, having TP both members in, we're going to see it's actually Knight the one to come in on the flank, which I think makes sense because he's the one with the easy ability to lock people down on the end. So goes for it. Once again, Knight being the hero to bring them in. The stun comes through. 369 flashes in. And one thing that JDG have just shown they're very good at is even when they're behind, they know how to identify who the key target is. They know how to prioritize getting the kills off and like going in unison, going in sync. It's been such a pleasure to watch them take advantage of these small mistakes that BLG is giving over. Ooh.
I mean, speaking of mistakes, Ruler went forward on that, had to flash away. Ambitious, but the whole of BLG just ran at him.
Now we're going to see Lambs just might back up, so BLG having that extra safety online to be able to play around with, and then taking advantage of Knight and Ruler both not having flash if a fight breaks out.
Elk almost caught out as well. You mentioned Knight, Ruler, also 369 if he wants to flash Q. That's something worth noting. Your Gal, same with Shielded Durant. I remember the days you could flash Shielded Durant. Remember when Galio could W and then flash? Those were the days. Those were the good old days, especially when Galio, his ulti, I think you attacked him and he just spurted it back out at you in Season 3 or 4. Those were the good old days. I've got to pause. Culling comes out. Elk takes no damage. And 369 gets bullied out by Shun. Remember, 2-item Kindred. And even though JDG got the pick before Lyric, as you said earlier, it's just a very different composition that JDG have to run into this time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying to remember what old Galio was like. Old Galio was the one that had like the Nunu-like channel with his ult, but it was like a giant taunt and then damage, right? That's what it was?
It was.
Man, it's been so long. I can remember some things very easy, like, again, like old Scion and how that interacted. But old Galio, my God. I just remember it being a mess. Though it did look way more intimidating, which I liked.
The best, so best rework, probably Gangplank, because old Gangplank was hilariously rubbish. It was so OP. I'm talking Season 1.
Oh, I love Aatrox. I think the Aatrox rework has always been my favorite just because of the amount of...
That's good.
It's just so fun, the dashing around with your Qs, hitting the sweet spots.
Maybe Galio is the best one.
Yeah. I mean, Galio's is pretty solid. You know, I need a old Galio. We need to go back is on. You got to be careful.
Old Galio not as great as Knight's trying to get a pick. The back's already taken, though. That timing. little bit rough for Knight, but the intention was there, as I believe it was Ben who was backing in the brush. Now, Lyric, we've got a time up. 2 minutes 15 until Infernal Soul. BLG have lost a bit of their gold lead. They still remain in control, but JDG are turtling this out a bit, just pulling back, waiting for picks. Na'Vi spotted out.
I mean, look at
BLG. They're just kind of expecting it.
Infinity Edge now online. Like you said, turtling it out, getting the gold that they've needed. 369 also finishing off the Jack show as he did start off with the Abyssal Mask. So we're going to see what Ruler can do as he's playing very far forward.
But he can't do that much damage. Lyric, he's a 3.5 item Lucian who's culling. Won't hurt your gal with his Zhonya's and also 10 stacks of Rod of Ages. He's looking for Elk, but Elk has a Lulu. And Kindred's never in rage, so now it's culling down. Let's see what else JDG can do. Knight is waiting for that influential ult again. Jun running forward into Ruler. Better AD wins, apparently. Has been now channeling forward. He gets Tibbers out because he was running at Knight head first. Almost dies because of it, but that is Tibbers down and out. As positioning here for Elk, a little bit dangerous. 3 members for JDG. Try him, but he will not be caught out.
So ideally as BLG, you would want to be able to find a fight before that Tibbers comes back up. The good thing about Ben getting chunked out in any circumstances, he has TP online, but JDG back off, so you're not going to be able to force a fight off of that cooldown being used, and there's no neutral up. Dragon, still about a minute away. So definitely doesn't feel like it was all too bad for Knight to, again, just gamble throughout the Tibbers and see what you're able to come away with.
Observers highlighting the TP ward there on our screens as well. So maybe an opportunity, Lyric, for Knight to get a really good flank. And I will say, so far in the series, JDG have been really good at setting up some of those wards for team fights, right? Despite their comp, whether it's game 1 or game 2, some of the teleport positions have been pretty threatening for BLG so far.
I feel like we've just seen BLG struggle at when it comes to like retaking vision. You can even see now not clearing some of the wards towards that bottom side jungle. Now going for their resets, they do have sweepers back online, a lot of control wards and inventory. Because you can see that's the play that JDG are banking on, right? It's walking into Knight from Fog of War. The Tibbers comes out, multiple members, immediate burst out. Don't give time for things like the Lamb's Respite to be able to come through and save the day. So Vision going to be the most pivotal thing for BLG to get to not let that play happen.
For JDG too, I mean, Ben is spotted out by 369. Meanwhile, though, Knight's caught out. Dragon goes down, but BLG have a bit of a pinch here. Ben thinking about it. He's got a blast cone to take. There's good aqua prison from JDG, but Lyric, they're on the wrong side of the map. They've got to run away. Ruler tried backing away, but BLG, this pinch massive. Ben has flash. He's got slicing Maelstrom waiting for his time to go in. 369 zones him away, and maybe it gives help to the other members of JDG, but as he flashes, as Cullen comes through, Jing Dong, this is not where you want to be. Kanavi goes in for the kick. Ain't it as Elk goes in and takes down a world champion. He was known as Joe Among, but now we ride him like a stallion as Elk.
Elk going massive, going forward in the team fight, believing in his team, knowing things like the wild growth are gonna come through and make sure he can play as aggressively as he wants. And now that's gonna open up the Baron for BLG.
The man who's developed over 5 great years of gameplay, who just went in full legendary mode. That's Elk. Lyric, the reliable carry is there, and JDG, as you said, now have to defer off of this Baron. Like, it's going to go down pretty quick. Knight needs a miracle.
Yeah, still going to wait around and look for Yagao. Going to flash over. They're from the same city. And you know, once you take him down, Ben going to be the one to come through and get it done.
The rivalry massive. Yagao showboating here. And ladies and gentlemen, with Baron going down, BLG re-ascertain their control. 5,000 back up in the lead. This game is looking good to take us to a 1-all.
So BLG, again, wanting to try to take back Vision. They can't just finally walk in. Luckily, they do spot Knight on a ward, so they don't have to worry about the Annie. And it's what leads Yagao to TPing in into making sure that they're able to bring him down. So I like that BLG realized, hey, let's use this opportunity to keep forcing a fight so we can take that Baron that's going to be up incredibly soon. It's just about how do they want to start it. And funnily enough, it's Elk, the one with the agency to go in. We see him Gale Force and then flash away from Kanavi and then just run Ruler down, knowing the Wild Growth's there, knowing the ult from Yagao is going to be able to follow up, and just runs away with the team fight for Bilibili.
That's just legendary. Ball of Steel and Elk relying on his team. Again, BLG have synced so well together, not only in the split, but in playoffs so far. You can see this synergy. And against JDG, our #1 team, game one, they looked poised to take it. They were up 5,000, but this time around, as Lyric said, different conditions with a more team-fighting prospect here for BLG in game number 2. And Lyric, they've got that Soul coming up yet again. They're 5,000 gold ahead. They've got the Baron. They're sieging through mid. And for JDG on the defensive here, as they just watch minions start taking away and chipping at their inner turret.
And gonna have to worry about 2 lanes. We can see the Kennen right now pushing in bot. So BLG, again, if they were able to start taking away some of this vision, they do have some control wards in pocket. Would be nice. Like then they could use that flag of war, rotate back and forth, and JDG really not have any idea of what is going on. Still gonna be able to do that with the Baron, even if JDG do have some information. What does the information matter if you can't do anything about it?
That's right. Again, it doesn't matter because the face BLG and find an angle just seems so difficult. We've got 3 items in the top lane, 3 items through mid, with a potential Magi's that could come through from Yagao, who's doing pretty well in this Galio. 3 item Aphelios, folks. You know exactly what that means. And with the QSS as well, it just gets so much harder. You can see in the meanwhile, though, Yagao hitting down the side lane. Lyric, Bin's going top. ELG putting a bit of a stamp through mid as well. All lanes adding pressure.
Again, just playing by the book. They get bot lane inner turret. Now move your Kennen up towards top side, rotate between mid and top, and take this one. Also means because JDG were fighting down towards bot side, that's where all their vision was concentrated. So now you're going to have first move. And now once again, going to be on JDG to try and find an overstep. But when you have this little amount of the map to work with, you can't even set up the same cheeky plays with the Annie that you were trying to do before.
True. Only one of them's worked so far. I mean, Knight is 0-5-3, and Lyric, to be fair, I feel like BLG had a really good response in draft. They were willing to leave this Annie open again, but they learned from their mistakes in game 1. They adjusted their draft, and it feels like there's a lot of options you were talking about that could deal with this Annie ulti, that can deal with how JDG wanted to play out this game. Their damage source as well, let's be real, not enough at this point. It's 4-item Lucian, yes, but will Ruler be alive to output all of his DPS, especially when Elk is close to matching, has so much shielding, and Knight, oh my god!
No.
Slicing Maelstrom used on a single target, but it doesn't matter. Yagao teleports in. They're just like, whatever, we won't need it for the fight anyway.
Right now, I mean, we just see BLG running JDG down. Great job of making this series competitive. Great job by Elk this game to show up against his former support that he played so many years with and showing, hey, you think you're happy with our divorce? I'm also happy working with On down in the spot lane. And then Shun, I mean, right, JDG gambled on giving away this Kindred. I actually don't think the plan is bad. It's a best of 5. It's been banned every game so far against BLG, and they've still won anyway. Leave it open, see what happens. But you've learned you are not going to do that again.
No way. Again, Shun's control the early game. Sublime as BLG's control this late game even more massive. The Mountain Dread broke out as Kanavi has to back away. He's been targeted. And BLG opened the base. Inhibitor turret on the bottom side down, and Inhibitor follows through. The Ruler, was that just Bin's damage? I mean, this cannon is a bit of an electric eel right now.
And it just goes to show the draft in the next game. You know, assuming no huge mistakes come out from BLG and they're able to close this out, going to be all the more interesting. Going back to worrying about things like the cannon, going back to now as JDG having to put respect on that Kindred, just a lot of things they're going to have to go through your mind going into game 3 of BLG with, I'm not even going to say if, BLG have Soul, BLG have the Aphelios, the Kindred, BLG are going to be able to close this out. And if I curse it, I welcome it because I want to see how JDG would win this game.
I mean, it would be crazy. And again, like BLG with a very different style this game, you'd have to think as, oh, the mark is left. What a throw from Yagao. 8th mark, by the way, if you want to keep track, as we look at Knight again, who just tried to back, and then Bin decided to press 3 buttons.
Yeah, comes in, throws out the Q, ulti's there, like everything. He's just dishing out the damage, like you said, with Shun. You said sitting on 8 marks, so going to be at the 100 bonus range. So going to be at a pretty nice point. Wait for a few more to come online and see if he makes his way up to 125.
Look, he's got GA too. So not only does it become harder to kill, he's got a backup plan. So for Shun, I mean, what more could you want? Especially when you're seeing Kanavi versus, for a lot of global fans, maybe an unnamed jungler. people don't remember, but this is the guy that covered for IG, you know, for when the whole team kind of fell apart there. Remember, they lost their prime, and they was he with the rookie in the Shy Squad? I believe he was for a couple of splits.
He was the first, and then you know they left, and he was the one that got built around. Had the roster with like Mole, on and Wing still in the bot lane. Yeah, didn't work out. But we did see on that roster, a lot of times Shun going 2 carry performance wasn't enough for the team to win. This time on BLG, having the players around him to enable that. Everything's up on the side of BLG as well. All summoners are there.
Oh god, Shun's just chasing them down. Look at this with the Infernal Soul, this Kindred. Gonna be popped here with the Force Station, but you're like, what even? Excuse me, Stone Plate is Shun just hovers around, threatens here. This Kindred has no fear, as with the Lulu behind him as well, and Ben's ulti flashes in, doesn't get too much off, but again, someone deal with Shun. He's flashing forward, sets up the Yagal, there's the Lamb's Respite, but he's still auto-attacking that mounting Dread. It's a 1-2-3 Mike Tyson knockout.
And now for BLG, they can just keep pushing down this space. They're going to break open an inhibitor. They have supers down in bot. They're going to be able to push through top.
Oh my god.
And Elk might just start killing everyone.
That Cho'Gath's got 3 items to be a tanky man. Elk! Oh, the flash forward, man. Remember my name.
BLG now, I mean, they have everything here. Supers are in the base. Everyone's alive. And they just keep looking to end the game.
They're going to do it here. I mean, JDG need to stand up. They need to fight with what's left, but they're just getting poked down to death. Bin, come through your gal, flashing on top. Elk again into Ruler. The world champion means nothing, and BLG first to them means absolutely diddly, evening up the series.
Great to see, especially from Yagao. His first playoffs on a team that isn't JDG. Spent, I believe, 5 years